Charlie O'Connor, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hi, Chuck. Obviously, you guys just executed the trade. I just wanted to ask you to start. Why did you believe that Ryan Ellis was a good fit, the best fit for you guys at this time?
Well, Ryan is an excellent all-around defenseman. He's one of, in our opinion, he's one of the best passers in the game on the blue line. He's great in transition. You can play the power play. He's got a heavy shot, and he's a very good penalty killer. He's been part of the leadership group in Nashville for a while. He's a competitive, team-oriented type of player. So for us, we think he's a really well-rounded hockey player, a quality person, and somebody that we feel very fortunate that we were able to add to our group today.
Charlie, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, sure. Last year, obviously, he dealt with the shoulder injury. I guess what gives you confidence that he'll age well going into his 30s?
Well, it's a fair question, Charlie. That's a concern with everybody. He's 30 years old, and we believe he has good hockey ahead of him. It's tough to predict injuries. Certainly, he's a man that plays hard, but there's no reason to think that he can't. So we like him a lot as a player, and we like the cap hit. We think it's a fair number, and we also like the fact that he's already signed. He's not a player that we traded for, now have to turn around and find a way to sign a contract in the next year or so. So he brings some cost certainty. We can plug that number in over the next few years, and again, I think it's a very fair cap number for the quality of hockey player that we acquired.
Adam Kibbleman, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Hi, Chuck. A lot of the things described about Ryan Ellis, you could have said about Matt Niskanen a couple of years ago. You had mentioned when you spoke to us a couple of weeks ago that you never really filled in that blank when Niskanen retired. Do you see Ryan as that guy who can sort of play a lot of the same areas, the same spots that Niskanen did, fill that same role?
Sure. I mean, they're a little bit different players, but they do have some similarities. Certainly Ryan can play power play and penalty kill. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's often in the top 20 in terms of time on ice for defensemen on a year-to-year basis. He's a competitor. He's a quality team first individual. And so certainly, he checks a lot of the same boxes that Niski did. I think Ryan's probably has a little bit more offense in this game than maybe Niski did. And I think Niski was known maybe being a little bit more of a defensive defenseman. But they're both, in actuality, they're both very good two-way defensemen.
Jordan Hall, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hi, Chuck.
Hey, Jordan.
Chuck, was it difficult to part ways with Philip Myers and Nolan Patrick? I know you've been bullish on Myers' upside, and just two young players that probably have upside, but I know you have to kind of make those moves to get a player like Ryan Ellis.
Yeah, it was very difficult. We certainly were not looking to move them, and David Poyle, give him credit. He wanted to add some younger quality pieces to his roster, and we went back and forth for a while in various scenarios, and this is what we settled on. But Phil Myers is a young man who's going to be a real good defenseman in this league for a long time, and I still believe in Patty. Last year I thought was a step forward for him in terms of his health and getting back on the ice, and I think the production will come and the confidence will come as he continues in his career. But as you said, you have to give to get, and we feel we have a lot of quality young players still in our system, a lot of quality prospects still in our system, and we still have all of our draft picks. So we're going to need a lot of young assets to fill in. It is a flat cap era, and I think we feel comfortable with the quality and quantity of the young players that we still have in our organization. But the opportunity to add a player like Ryan was too good to pass up. He's what we need at this time.
Mike Sealski, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Chuck. I know you weren't with the organization when Nolan was drafted, but what are the ramifications of having a number 2 overall pick and not having it pan out like this?
Well, I wasn't here for the drafting process. Nolan's been through a lot of adversity. Certainly a lot of things that have been out of his control. He's dealt with some things that you don't wish on anybody, quite frankly. I still think he has his career ahead of him. And in this case, we moved him today and to acquire one of the better defensemen in the NHL. So, we feel we made a hockey trade, and Nolan was a big piece of this trade and of our ability to acquire Ryan Ellis. So, I think there's still a story to be written by Nolan for his career. And I'm certainly pulling for him, and I think the world of him. And again, he's battled through a lot of adversity.
Jeff Skaversky, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck, is there any concern, any worry at all with, giving up on Nolan this early? He's 22, second overall pick, that, it could come back to haunt you guys at all. And my second question would be, did the migraine stuff, did that factor in at all potentially down the road of, hey, we don't know maybe if he'll be even available for us?
Well, I don't think we gave up on Nolan. Again, we acquired one of the premier defensemen in the National Hockey League, and a player that we feel, fits the needs of our team quite well. And in terms of his overall two-way game, his ability to move the puck, and which is an area I thought we struggled in a lot last year. And I think there was a lot of focus on the fact we didn't defend as well, but to me, we just defended too much. And if we move the puck cleaner and more quickly out of our defensive zone, then we won't have to defend as much. And I think Ryan's a good defender, but I think we'll have the ability to transition the puck better and get up the ice. And he's a pretty elite defenseman in terms of the transition game. So, in moving Nolan, again, I know everybody will interpret it the way they want to interpret it, but for us, we moved 2 good young players today. That was the price of doing business to acquire a quality two-way defenseman that we feel we really needed to take a step forward as an organization. And frankly, we feel, a guy like Ryan will also aid in the development of some of our young players that we have here too. So, we want to win more games, and we want our young players to be put in the best position to succeed. And, Ryan, again, checks a lot of boxes for this organization, and we paid a price to get him.
Bill Meltzer, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hi, Chuck. 2 questions. Does the fact that you, at this point, still have your first round pick, and you mentioned all the other assets in the organization, how much flexibility does that give you the rest of this offseason to, possibly address other needs or just continue to develop players? And the other part of that is how much does bringing Ellis in help you in terms of being able to slot all 3 defensive pairings in a more ideal way, similar to the impact that Matt Niskanen had in that way?
Yeah, I mean, Bill, to your last point, I think that's exactly our hope. We'd like, players to be slotted in the right position and, give everybody a chance to be successful. And, look, there's no question our penalty kill struggled last year, and we believe Ryan will help with our penalty kill. He's certainly a player that can shoot the puck and move the puck and help, again, with our transition game, our power play, our overall offensive game. So, I think, again, he brings a lot to the table. And in terms of, going forward, clearly the 13th pick is a great commodity, and we're open to moving it in the right scenario. And yet we'd also be very excited to take the player that falls to us there. And, there aren't a lot of, if I want to use the term benefit, there's not a lot of redeeming factors about having the season we did. I mean, the only benefit you do get is a high pick. And so we certainly hope to maximize the value of that pick one way or the other and do something so we can avoid picking number 13 for the foreseeable future.
Joe Fordyce, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck.
Hi, Joe.
As far as you're going into the offseason, you and everyone in the organization acknowledged that the goals allowed was the main focus, and defense was the main focus. So do you view this move as the main move, or do you still view defensemen and potentially adding some other pieces on the blue line as a priority? Or do you think your defense is more of the core you're looking for now with Ellis in the fold?
Oh, I think we're certainly going to continue to look, at every avenue to get better. I mean, we weren't good enough last year. Ryan Ellis is an upgrade. He's a step in the right direction, but clearly we're not going to get complacent. We'll do what we can to upgrade in the areas we can. And the primary focus, certainly going into next year will be on reducing our goals against. And as I mentioned, I think the last time we all got together, part of that will be certainly, looking to the outside to acquire additional help, whether that's, goaltending, defensemen, or forwards. If wherever we can upgrade, we will. But we also have to have a pretty big focus once we get back as a team on playing the right way and having a great training camp and making use of all the practice time we have. And we need a lot of our returning players to be better, quite frankly. So it's a little bit of looking to the outside and maybe even more importantly, having a renewed focus on playing the right way. So, so we can be more successful.
Okay, we'll do a few more questions. Charlie O'Connor, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Hey, Chuck. Obviously the expansion draft is on the way. The trade freeze is now in place. Obviously I would assume Ellis takes the place of Phil Myers in terms of where he was going to be protected, but Nolan Patrick probably was going to be protected. Are you able to reveal, I guess, who will be protected in his place, or is that something you're not willing to reveal right now?
I actually have about 12 and a half minutes to sign the form and get it into the league. So I'm glad we only have a couple more questions, or else we'd be in trouble. No, I think what the league has asked us to do, Charlie, with all due respect to your question, which is a fair question, is we need to submit it and they need to verify and approve that it's been properly submitted before we can reveal what we've done. But certainly we've had a lot of focus on that today as well. And at the right time, I can speak to that, but I don't want to get ahead of it until it's been verified and approved by the league.
Mike Sealski, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
I'm good. Charlie asked my question. Thanks.
Okay, we'll do one more question. Adam Kimmelman, you're on with Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Chuck. I'm just wondering, how did all this come together? Is this something you have been working on with David for a while, or did this come together just in short order here?
I've been speaking to David for a long time. I've had, we've had a long time interest in Ryan Ellis, and I spoke to David about potential defenseman trades last season, prior to when our season shut down, basically due to the pause. We were, looking for help on the blue line in the off season. We were looking for help on the blue line during the season, and once we kind of took a big step back last year, I put that on pause just to get to the off season, and we've been speaking for several weeks now. So, I think this is again a good fit for our team, and we paid a price. We recognize that, but it's just very difficult to get defensemen like this, and we're happy with the cap number. We're happy with the player, and we think he checks a lot of boxes.
Okay, Chuck, thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.